What's up guys, Pop by Pigs for Life here, and today we're back with part 2 of our Galapagos Island adventure. So now, if you guys remember last episode, we started off by exploring Quito, the capital city of Ecuador, as well as exploring the island of Santa Cruz. So now, if for whatever reason you guys did not catch part 1, then feel free to pause this video and go check it out, because it will give you guys so much background context. So now, in this episode, we really start to dive into the juicy part of this trip, as we are going to be heading over to the largest island of the archipelago, Isabela Island. And so what's super awesome is that, as you can see, I was given the privilege of being able to ride on the top of the boat. This is awesome! Alright guys, so we just arrived at Isabela Island, the largest island in the archipelago. And so the plan is we're going to go see some flamingos. Supposedly there's a huge lake with tons and tons of flamingos. Then we're gonna go see another tortoise breeding center for all of the species that can be found on this island alone, because this island is so huge that there are 5 unique species found on this island alone. So because of that, they decided to make a breeding center for those species in particular. And then after that, we're gonna head to the beach, and we're going to hopefully be able to cool off from this extreme heat. Okay, so actually, before we went to go do our activities for the day, we had to quickly go check into our hotel room. So really quickly, time for our third room tour. Alright guys, so we just got to our third hotel room of the trip, and once again, time for a room tour. So you walk in, here's the front door, you've got a desk, you've got side table, you've got 1, 2, 3 beds, nice view of Isabela, you've got hanger, cubby storage, and in here, you've got a bathroom, sink, toilet, shower. So overall, in terms of the 3 hotel rooms that we've stayed in so far, the second one was my favorite, followed by this one, followed by the one in Quito. Alright guys, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that today was the day where we saw the most wildlife. So to start, we went to these lagoons that had some brackish water, so a healthy mix between salt water and fresh water, and that's where we saw various different types of birds. But the big star of the show in this case were the Galapagos flamingos. So what I learned is that the Galapagos flamingo is actually a subspecies of the American flamingo that lives on the Galapagos Islands. On top of that, we also saw a couple pelicans and a couple of those Bahamas ducks. And then right after that, we went to go see another tortoise breeding center. So in the Galapagos Islands, there's a total of 2 tortoise breeding centers, one in Santa Cruz and one on Isabela Island. And the reason for this is because on Isabela Island, there are a total of 4 different subspecies of Galapagos giant tortoise. So the one on Isabela Island is specifically for the species that live on Isabela Island, and then the breeding center on Santa Cruz is for all of the other species that can be found across a bunch of different islands. So much like the breeding center that we saw on Santa Cruz, there was a little indoor area where we could learn about the turtle's life cycles, as well as the various invasive species that pose a threat to it, as well as the various conservation efforts that are taken to protect this species. Then after that, we went on a short little hike, and we saw some absolutely gorgeous sights. So after we saw the Galapagos Breeding Center, we went to go have lunch, and then after lunch we went on another hiking excursion. So once again, we saw so much wildlife, but by far the animal we saw the most of was the marine iguana. So eventually we came across this area that had this beautiful tide pool right next to the ocean, and that was actually one of the places where the marine iguanas made their nest. So because of that, we had to be super careful. However, with some extra precautions and permission from our tour guides, we were able to see this all up close and in person. So eventually we came across this beautiful lagoon that was surrounded by all sorts of different mangrove trees, and there was a little passageway where we were able to wade through some shallow water in order to see some more awesome wildlife, and especially birds. So right here we saw some more pelicans, and what's especially cool is that right here we got to see some of their hunting behavior in action as they were diving for some fish. On top of that, we were able to see two very iconic Galapagos birds. Right on top of these rocks, you can see two blue-footed booby birds, and right up in that tree, you can see a frigate bird. So once we finished our hike, everyone wanted to go spend some time at the beach. So that's what we all decided to do to finish out the day. And let me tell you, as soon as I stepped one foot onto that beach, I was truly in a summer state of mind.
Do you like it better when the ocean's warm? Do you like it better when you see the stars? Do you like it better when the sky is blue? I know I do. I know I do. Oh, oh, oh,
Alright guys, so another day has bestowed upon us here in the Galapagos, and so you could tell the sun's in my eyes, but basically the plan for today, like I had mentioned, is we're going to do a lot of hiking, see some volcanoes, we're going to spend more time at the beach. So what I'm going to do is right now gonna head down, I'm gonna get some breakfast, and then from there we're gonna get going. Alright guys, so as we are traveling up to the Tierra del Fuego volcano, I just wanted to preface that this was a very long and exhausting walk. So, without any further talking, here is one epic hiking montage. So the big thing that made this hike a lot harder than any of our other hikes is that this was going uphill, so this was a huge workout on all of our legs. But we did see a little family of cows that even had a little baby, which was nice. But the big cherry on top was the absolutely gorgeous view once we got to the summit. And so our tour guide showed us this little tradition where if you blow into your hand 3 times, it will send all the clouds away, and surprisingly, it actually worked. We got an absolutely stunning view once the sun came out. It was an absolute chef's kiss. So after we took a little bit of a break, we decided to hike to this other viewpoint, and what especially helped was that because we were so high up, it was drizzling a little bit, so because of that, the little bit of rain definitely cooled us off. However, while we didn't have to worry about what was going on above us, we definitely had to pay close attention to what was going on down by our feet, as because there were so many cows, there was also a lot of cow feces. So because of that, we were constantly having to warn each other, watch out, there's cow poop up ahead, make sure you don't step in it. But with all that aside, one other cool thing that we did stumble upon was we actually saw a wild Galapagos tortoise that wasn't in captivity, which is super interesting that we got to see one in its natural habitat. So then eventually we made it to this absolutely stunning viewpoint, and that is in fact where I got the picture for this thumbnail. And so, much like the day before, we all needed to cool off after a long and exhausting day of hiking. So, we once again spent even more time at the beach. Alright guys, so as we're wrapping up another day of our Galapagos adventure, I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on today. So today was once again very, very tiring. We did quite a long walk up a volcano, but it was all worth it because the views were absolutely breathtaking. And yeah, like, we got a lot of exercise. Yeah, it was tiring, but once we got up to the volcano, it was just such an amazing view. So then we also spent some time at the beach today, and honestly, like, once I had cooled off, I was like ready to call it quits for the day. So tomorrow we've got a big day ahead. I know I keep saying that, but tomorrow especially is the moment we've all been waiting for. We are going to go snorkeling with all sorts of different marine animals. Tomorrow is the day for wildlife, for sure. So with that being said, see you all in the morning. Alright guys, so it is the next day, and let me tell you, it is an absolutely beautiful day to go snorkeling. The sun is up, not a cloud in sight. Okay, I lied. There are a couple clouds, but that's great because like that, it's not, you know, too hot. But with that being said, I still need to apply an absolute ton of sunscreen. And also, the reason I have this on my head is so that way I can just attach the GoPro and I get all the good footage without having to carry around this in the water. Alright guys, so once again, I don't want to talk too much during this segment because I want to let the footage speak for itself. But to start, we got onto this little boat, and on the dock, there were so many sea lions, it was crazy. So then, once we got onto the boat, we went to this other little section of coastline where it was very rocky, and there were also a bunch of marine iguana nests over here. We got some amazing views of some penguins, some sea lions, which you can see napping on this little bench. It was super funny. We got to see a shark in the water. We got to see a bunch of turtles, all stuff that we will see once we go snorkeling. So now I'm gonna stop talking, and without any further ado, let's head into the water. Man, I must say, that was an absolutely incredible experience. I mean, we got to see so much amazing wildlife, and not only that, but we got to see it up close. Like, you cannot get much better than that. The sea lion especially, swimming up to us was absolutely stunning. So as you can see, we are not in the hotel that we were in previously because we ended up sailing back to Santa Cruz. So we are in the same hotel that we stayed in last time we were here, but just a different room. So let me show you around. You got the front door, mini fridge, desk, cubby space, 3 beds, side tables, picture frame, and a much more spacious bathroom. All right, so in terms of tomorrow, we really aren't doing much. As we're wrapping up the trip, tomorrow is going to be spent heading back to Quito. So because that, I'm probably not gonna record any of it. So next time we do a cut, we will be back in Quito and we will just have one more day left. All right, guys, so we just made it back to Quito, and turns out we actually have the same exact room that we did the first time. So, yeah, so we just got back. I can assure you, barely anything interesting happened today, with the exception of the land iguana that I saw on the island of Baltra. I will insert some footage of that here. So then, right now, I just want to take a moment to reflect on the trip in its entirety. So, this was an absolutely phenomenal experience. It definitely was something out of the ordinary for both the channel and myself. Like, I've never gone out of the country. I've never flown on a plane before. There's so many different things that I've never done that I got to do in this trip. It was absolutely phenomenal. I feel like in terms of like my health, this trip was great because I got to eat so many different foods, and yeah, there were a bunch that I didn't really like that much, but like a lot of the dishes were like very chicken based, rice based. I got to try fish for the first time and it was really good. Yeah, I'm just that picky. But yeah, so the fish was super duper good, and a lot of the food was chef's kiss. So yeah, so I really enjoyed this trip. Like, yeah, I'm just like super happy with everything that happened. My all-time favorite part of the trip, hands down, was snorkeling. At first, it was a bit stressful, sort of like getting hang of the ropes, but like once I got the hang of it, it only went up from there. And especially with all the animal encounters, the turtles, the penguin, the seal especially, or the sea lion, yeah. All in all, like, absolute once-in-a-lifetime experience, getting to get up close in person with all those animals. I did also really like wading through the mangrove swamp, because we got to see, like, some pelicans, we got to see them hunt, which was super cool. We got to see blue-footed booby birds, as well as all the tortoises. I loved seeing the tortoises and learning about their conservation, and even the marine iguanas too. Like, there was one day where we saw like so many marine iguanas on Isabela Island, and so yeah, all the iguanas, the tortoises, like, all in all, if you love animals, then this is the experience, because there were just so many animals here, and even like all the domestic animals, like the dogs. There were lots of dogs there. There were lots of cattle, and what's super incredible is that there were so many different cattle farms, but they were just all free range, like, which is really what all cattle farms should be doing is just acres upon acres of open grassy fields for the cows to be able to live life to the fullest. So I'm really happy that I know where the food I ate came from. So yeah, and all in all, like all the hiking, all the swimming, so worth my while. So yeah, pretty much here's the plan for tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we're gonna check out of the hotel. We're gonna go for like a 2-hour drive in Quito. We're gonna see this crater with a lake in it that was formed by a glacier, which is really cool. And then we're going to shop a little bit more before leaving for home. So with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, so today is officially the last day of our trip. And even though it is the last day of our trip, we still have so much more to do today. So because of that, let's get on the bus. Okay, guys, so one thing you'll notice, other than the astonishing views, is that there are quite a few more clouds in the sky than there have been pretty much the entire trip. So definitely the worst weather was on the very last day, which is good that it was being saved for last. It did end up downpouring, and we did have to run back to the bus in the rain. Thankfully, we all had raincoats, but it was raining so hard that the rain ended up going right through my raincoat. But with all that aside, there were plenty of moments with lots of sunshine, as you can see right here, with especially all these valleys, like, absolutely stunning view. I know I keep saying that. You know what? Feel free to comment down below how many times I have said stunning view in both this video and the last video. So, yeah, but anyways, lots of mountains, lots of valleys, just like day one. And so our first stop of the day was to this cafe slash shop, and there was this little yard at the side where there were some llamas. There was a mom, there was a dad, and there was a little baby. So we all had a field day being able to give the llamas lots of love. What's kind of a bummer, but also understandable, is that we were not allowed to touch any of the animals, so because that we needed a change of pace, so it was nice that we were able to show those llamas some affection. So then after that, we made a stop at the crafts market, and let me tell you, this was quite an interesting experience, because not only were there all these stalls with all sorts of handmade goods, but there were also plenty of salesmen and saleswomen that were going around trying to pressure tourists to buy their stuff. And so what was kind of a shame is, going into the crafts market, I only had 25 bucks in spending money, and right when I got there, this guy pressured me to buy a belt for 20 bucks, and I could not get him to leave me alone, so because of that, I kind of just caved in. But with that being said, not only was the belt real leather, but there was this beautiful embroidered pattern on one side, so because of that, I decided to give it to my dad, and when I gave it to him when I got home, he absolutely loved it, and ever since then, he's been wearing that every single day. So I guess in the end it was worth the 20 bucks. However, even though I didn't have really any spending money left, I still was able to get so many good shots of all the different stalls, and I feel like I was really able to capture the sheer craftsmanship of the Ecuadorian people. So now, after we spent some time at the crafts market, we all went to go and have lunch. And let me tell you, what I had for lunch is something that me or anyone who's close to me would have never in a million years expected that I would have had. Alright guys, so right now we are at lunch, and right here, this is guinea pig, and I'm gonna try it. So, guinea pig, they originated in South America, specifically the Andes, and because that they are a huge staple in Peruvian and Ecuadorian cultures, especially because high up in the mountains.
Show the rest of the guinea pig here.
So with that being said, oh, here's the rest of the guinea pig. With that being said, I've got a leg. Let's dig in. That's actually not bad. I'll be honest. It tastes I was gonna say, for me it's like a mix between like chicken and beef, kind of.
Maybe because you have the dark meat.
Yeah, or it even like it tastes like a little bit like beef teriyaki, sort of.
Deep fried deliciousness.
So yeah, all in all, guinea pig's pretty good. One little quick tidbit that I didn't get to mention about the guinea pig is that when I was eating it, I did have to pick through a couple of bones, especially because the guinea pigs are such a small animal as opposed to other livestock animals like cows, pigs, and even chickens. Like, you've got more meat per bone, but with the guinea pig, because they're such a small animal, you have to pick through all of the bones. So on that note, after we had lunch, we went on another little hiking excursion up to a crater lake. So unlike the last crater lake that we saw by the llamas, this one was inside of an actual volcano. And because that, there is no life found in this lake. No fish, nothing. And that is because of all of the gases that are within the water that make the lake inhospitable. On top of that, we also did see a couple of ruins. I'm not sure if they were replicas or if they were actual ruins, but they did look cool. We also saw this visitor center that wasn't open at the time, and in front of it there was a statue of an Andean bear, which are very common in Ecuador. And then afterwards we went to this music shop, and so they had a bunch of different traditional instruments. And one cool thing that you guys might have been able to catch is that on the wall there was a 9-banded armadillo. Obviously it wasn't alive, but they were using the 9-banded armadillo as a type of instrument, which is really cool to see exactly how resourceful the people of Ecuador truly are. So then, on top of getting to see all of the different instruments, the family that owned the music shop did do a little bit of a demo. The husband showed us how he made one of the flutes, and the husband, wife, and daughter performed a little song for us, which was really interesting. I decided not to film it to respect the privacy of the family, but it was definitely a cool experience. And with that being said, that pretty much concludes the trip. On our way to the airport, we saw an absolutely beautiful sunset, especially over all of the mountains. So this was an absolutely phenomenal way to end such a phenomenal trip. So yeah, that officially concludes our Galapagos Island adventure. I, for one, had an absolute blast on this trip. I got to meet so many new people, encounter so many different animals, and I got to visit so many amazing sites that I otherwise never would have seen if I did not go on this trip. So this trip was absolutely worth it. I really hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of change in pace. I know it's not my usual Planet Zoo Jurassic World Evolution 2 video, but I thought it would be something new and exciting. I certainly am not going to be making any more vlogs anytime soon because I don't travel a lot. So yeah, next time I do travel, which is again not going to be for a while, I will think about recording it and sharing my experience with you guys. But yeah, with that all being said, that is gonna wrap up today's video. Really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If so, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see some more Planet Zoo and Jurassic World Evolution 2 content. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.